Welcome back to another episode at Pleasurelit with Patricia. Today I have got Kiki Marie with me. She is a sexologist, educator, and the founder of Yonilicious Academy. She helps women and vulva havers to build a confident, compassionate relationship with their bodies and sexuality through speaking, coaching, therapeutic yoni massage, and professional training. Welcome to the show.
Yay! I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Before we get in, I would love to invite you to take three conscious breaths with me and also invite the listeners and the ones watching to just take the time to connect with us together. So we're going to take a deep breath in through the nose, deep into our belly, and we're going to sigh it out through our mouth. So deep breath in and release. Now we're going to take another deep breath in through the nose. You can also place a hand on your heart or body and release.
Oh,
And we're going to take one more. Give yourself full permission to lean into what the body desires. If that's moving, if that's voicing it out louder, if that's softening your shoulders, your jaw. So we're going to take a deep breath in through the nose and release.
mhm.
Oh, the tingle. I'm just getting goosebumps.
Oh, nice. I love that.
Oh, how are you feeling?
I feel good. I feel good. I'm happy to be here and I'm feeling pretty healthy and energized. So I feel good.
I love that. Thanks. Yeah, we're just gonna have a open, honest conversation about pleasure. I've got a few guided questions for us just to guide us through this. So feel free to answer them in as little and as much as you desire. And also you're free to ask questions back. So it's just a conversation.
Okay,
And
nice.
I would love to start it with right now in your life,
Mhm.
what brings you a lot of pleasure?
I have a massage, like an electric massager that goes around in circles that I plug in. And I love putting on a movie or a series and just working down my entire body, like on my arms, on my hands, on my feet, my thighs, my back, my neck. I just laid there for so long. I love it so much knowing that I can just do it as long as I like and I don't have to do anything else. And it's just so I get so excited every single time. So
I
that's
love that. Is so aligned with recently when I watched your stories. You've been traveling and then there are massage chairs at the airport and you're like, massage chair. And then I think it was your brother saying like, she's a massage chair slut or something like that. And I was just like, there we go. And now you're just mentioning it. And this morning I was actually considering to book myself in for a massage because I'm so
do
sore.
it. Do
Maybe
it.
it was a sign.
Yes. I have a really great health fund where I get back a chunk of money if I get a massage done at a remedial massage place. And I find a lot of the Chinese remedial massage places so good, like such good massages. So I go there for like a half hour, $20 massage
I might have to review
multiple
my
times a month. Yeah,
I have to review my
it's
health
so good.
insurance.
It's so good.
When you hear the word pleasure, what
Mm.
does that mean to you and how does it feel in your body?
Pleasure, the word pleasure feels very permission giving, I guess, when I hear it or think about it. Feels like it's permission to do whatever the fuck you need to do to feel good, whatever it looks like, without any rules. And what was the next question?
How does it feel in your body?
Pleasure. I mean, I think I am a bit of a pleasure slut in general, like a hedonist. So it feels like that's like one of my main reasons I want to do life is like pleasure. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And when you think about your relationship with pleasure over the lifetime, how has that changed? Can you share a little bit about your story, what you want to share, like how it
Mm.
shifted maybe, what was a potent moment?
Mm. Um, I think, I guess what's just coming to mind now, just because seeing a lot of people that are moving over into like the religious Christianity path to Jesus sort of feels like it's a bit of a fad at the moment. No offense to anyone listening that are into Christianity listening, but I'm just sort of I've seen a lot of people in the sexuality space move over to that and get into that. And I know that there was a time in my life where I was, I guess you would say, religious, like kind of on my own as well. I kind of super got into Christianity and Jesus and all of the shame and the guilt that comes with that. I think it also was in my psyche before I even got into it myself. When I got into it when I was like 16-ish, I had a partner who was religious, so I was like, yeah, sure. I'm lost and lonely, and this is going to make me feel better. And it did to an extent, and then it didn't. And so, yeah, I remember seeing a lot of like shame kind of themed things, and I'm seeing it come up again. And I felt it as well. You know, I felt it when I was young, before I was religious. I felt it while I was religious. And now I'm seeing it. A lot of people, like I just saw a sex educator or share a post saying, an ex sex educator, sorry, saying something along the lines of like, you need to die to your desire and give your life over to Jesus. And just all of this kind of that same rhetoric that Christianity tends to spout. And yeah, I think my sort of intimate personal relationship with pleasure was impacted greatly from that time in Christianity, as well as just growing up in white culture or Western culture, which is pretty Christian, you know, in general. And there's been a huge, I guess, like reclamation of my body and my pleasure and my okayness. If I think about me when I first started self pleasuring to me as a sexual adult to me now, there's been such a huge shift. Like I used to self pleasure when I was young, I don't know, like 10 or something. And then I'd pray immediately afterwards and be like, dear God, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I'll never do it again. And then do it again, but you know, pray afterwards. So there was such a it was such a huge like shame. Like I felt so bad, so guilty. Like if I did it, I was doing something wrong. I was breaking my body. I was hurting my body. I was betraying my family, or like just goodness. Like I just thought it was bad and inherently bad, whatever I was doing. And I don't know why. That was something that was kind of culturally I'd taken on. And so yeah, to then, you know, getting into like my later teens, being very like okay with multiple sexual partners and understanding my sexuality and exploring it, and being very confused by my pleasure as well. Like, why did I feel more pleasure when I cheated? Why did I feel more pleasure when I had certain fantasies or that were taboo? Like what was going on? And so there's definitely like shame, and then a bit of reclamation, and then confusion, and then that led me into this work and studying and trying to understand and research and learn more and get myself educated, to then starting to understand it better, and then getting to a place where I'm like, oh yeah, like I get it, I understand it, I understand my sexuality, I understand sexuality in general pretty well. You know, I've been studying sexuality now for 15 years and working in the field for almost as long. So I'm very like, there have been a lot of different paths that I've taken and things that I've learned and understood. And now when I think about pleasure now, I'm like, I'm so excited by pleasure. And I know that there's that for me, it doesn't have to look a certain way, and all of it's welcome and it's okay as long as it's not hurting myself or hurting anybody else. And that feels, yeah, really revolutionary from where I sort of came from. And then I guess sort of to tie in um, some other feelings around pleasure, sort of the flip side of pain. I've lived with a chronic pain condition for most of my life, it worsening in my 20s and getting even worse in my early 30s. And so, like I kind of alluded to at the beginning of the call, I feel like pleasure is one of the things that makes life worth living and doing, because if I have to struggle with a chronic pain condition, I want to also feel pleasure. And that's why I think I am a bit of a hedonist and a pleasure slut, and focusing on massage and making sure I'm getting my fix and supporting my body, because I'm also having to navigate chronic pain and chronic illness and all that comes with that, the trauma that comes with that, the threat detecting that's constantly happening, scanning my body. And so I definitely think I prioritize pleasure a lot more, and have done so a lot more over the years, because of having to live alongside of pain.
Wow, thank you for sharing that, because that was just such a like journey of having this pleasure body and experiencing pleasure early on, but then losing it down the track and just refining it and then reclaiming it, but also reshaping it. And this is just such a beautiful example of how we are born with pleasure. We are like, as children and babies, like we have this as a birthright, and then lots of things happen where we might just, yeah, lose it, can't access it, can't expand it, don't have the
Mm-hmm.
capacity to feel for it. And then eventually, find our way back to it. And it's just such a beautiful way how you experience that. And I'll also giving permission with that there are different phases of life where we might just can't access it, and then that we are able to find our way back to it and can feel it again. And that's just such beautiful story and journey that you've been through, and I can totally relate, and I believe a lot of other women listening as well can relate to that. Specifically, I work now with high functioning women where we are just doing a lot of doing, performing, achieving, people pleasing, living on autopilot. And like you just said, pleasure is what makes it worth living for, because eventually you just hit that point where you are, is that it? Like every day I just wake up and I just work and I do kids and I do this and I do that. And yeah, pleasure later because I need to do all these things first, but that never happens because you've got just a million things adding onto the list. And eventually you're just like, is that it? Is that what's life supposed to be? And it's not, because pleasure is actually I call it essential nutrient now that makes it worth living for. And that's the key ingredient that we need to feel healthy, to feel radiant, to feel regulated, to feel deliciously turned on and feel good. So yeah.
Yeah. What's the point if we can't feel good in our bodies? Like we have to go through so much shit in life, like illness and pain and like menstruation and perimenopause, menopause, like all of these things that can be really challenging in our bodies, rough sleep or yeah, physical injury. Like there's so much that goes on with having a body. Like why not make sure we're also feeling all of the good, like we have nerves that are responsible for pain and for pleasure. Like why not connect in with the things that give us pleasure in whatever capacity, that works for us. It might look very different from physical pleasure. It might be other kinds of pleasures or
Yeah.
yeah.
When you look back, maybe you have like a recent example or something. How does pleasure has how has pleasure influenced your life in regards to like business, for example, or making money, or relationships, or just something where you recently thought, oh, okay, when pleasure is present, or is involved, it works this way. But if I like shut off, this is what happens.
I think I spent a lot of time really trying to make sure everybody was happy around me, or um, yeah, I guess was putting other people's needs first and over giving and over extending, and not only because like I love the people that I work with and I want them to feel happy, and not that it's ever really been expected from me, but I feel like getting older and also just like going through different pain, like a journey with pain and illness and things like that, it kind of like changes like the toler like it's changed my tolerance level for people pleasing or for putting others first or for like neglecting myself. It's like I can't neglect myself. Otherwise it will end in something like really bad. So I need to take care of myself, and I need to prioritize myself, or I need to show up authentically, or I need to not people please and not ruminate on how I could have done things better, and instead really like have a supportive system in place that feels authentic, like I can be my authentic self, and I can have my needs met, and I can um, be okay with being human and making mistakes and fucking up and voicing it, and not having to be perfect. And um, I think that has really led to pleasure in and of itself. It's made
Mm.
the spaces that I'm in feel more nourishing because I'm not masking, I'm being myself, I'm saying what I'm thinking, and I'm not feeling bad for having, differing opinions, or yeah, making a mistake, or not being able to show up because of illness or whatever, or being disorganized, just kind of having a little bit more compassion with myself to be human in business,
Mm.
um, and in relationships and friendships as well. Just that kind of dropping that bit of that like perfectionism, and dropping that like, yeah, like kind of like worrying about like sweating the small stuff, I think is really helping me. And it's still a journey and a process. Like I'm not going to say that I don't ever ruminate, or I don't ever stress about things, or I don't ever mask, but it's definitely feels like over the years as I get older, that's just kind of happening naturally. And I recently did a Yoni massage training over in New Zealand, and it was so beautiful. And everybody were themselves, and I really felt like I could be myself, and everything felt so authentic, and like everyone was cared for and everybody's needs were met, including my own. Whereas in the past, I might have neglected myself a little bit and made sure everyone else was okay. But there was a way to make it okay for everybody when nobody was being hurt or missing out. And that felt so pleasurable. The whole training was pleasurable. It didn't feel like it was work. It was like just fun. And yeah, it just felt so easeful and yummy. And yeah, it definitely feels like a bit of a theme.
Yeah, a lot of women, including myself, the people pleasing, perfectionism, overthinking, they're like, they are blocks to our pleasure, I like to say. And when you look back, do you have like a certain personal block to pleasure where you know when this comes, then I just can't access it? And what have you maybe developed over time? What helps you to move through it so you can access it again?
I would say a block to my pleasure. I don't know if anything really comes to mind. I know that there are certain pleasures I won't be able to connect with if, for example, like intimate pleasure with somebody, if I am like if the house is messy, or if somebody like if there's like somebody hasn't had a shower, or like yeah, like sensory, definitely like some sensory. I kind of I'm very sensitive to like different sensory issues,
Mm.
like sounds as well. Like there are some things that uh can like make me feel like not as connected intimately, or not as open to intimate pleasure or like sensual pleasures if they're feeling a bit out of whack. And
Yeah.
I would say the way that I kind of work through them is just to like I kind of just try and like keep the house clean, and like ask for my partner to have a shower or brush their teeth,
Oh,
or I bring in some like yummy things to help me to get out of my head, like bring in
yeah.
some massage, bring in some yummy food and some nice music that can like maybe drown out a sound, or like I'll try and find things that can counteract what's triggering me sensorily.
Yeah, I can relate. There's nothing better to have like a clean house. It's just like it's a turn on. I feel good when the house smells good and it just looks nice, and
Me
then it's just like,
too.
yum.
Me too. Totally. Yeah.
Are you also like essential like erotic blueprint type? Because there's
Exactly.
like, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's one of the good things is, but then the shadow part is that
Yes.
we are quite sensitive. So if anything is off, the sheets that don't feel soft enough, or the wrong music goes on in the wrong moment, it's just like the moment is gone.
Uh-huh. We need to pause for something. I'm like, yeah, no, it's like I'm done.
Yeah,
Like
no.
I've just noticed like I've started tuning into like the body fluids and I'm just like, oh, like no. Yeah. I can feel too sensitive. Yeah, definitely. That's definitely like my biggest block would be like
Yeah.
senses.
Feel turned on by your own life, lit up by your own pleasure. Be and live pleasure lit. I am Patricia. I was the good girl, high achieving, independent, high functioning. I survived an ED and a DV marriage. And the shift came when I started to reconnect with my body. Somatic pleasure changed everything for me in my life, business, motherhood, and relationships. Now I wake up feeling deeply alive in my body. I feel pleasure in the ordinary moments. I receive love, pleasure, success, rest without shutting down or rushing past it. I am the founder of Pleasurelit and an award-winning pleasure explorer and educator. Through my trauma-informed somatic pleasure, nervous system regulation, tantra, yoga, breathwork, and feminine embodiment, I guide women into feeling radiant, regulated, and deliciously turned on. If this sparked something inside of you, this is your invitation. Join us within the Pleasurelit Circle, my online community for women with life goals and somatic pleasure practices. My number one bestseller book, The Pleasurelit Way, to awaken, deepen, and widen your pleasure potential. For more pleasure exploration, you can tune into my voice notes at Women's Pleasure Notes on Substack and go deeper within my online courses. You can also apply for one-on-one coaching and book me for your workshops, events, and speakings. You can choose your path at pleasurelit.com. When we've got blocks to pleasure on one side, which can be, for example, like disconnection is for me hugely. So when I'm just like too much in my mind and I can't actually go get into my body, and that's when I know I'm gonna have to do some embodiment practices, somatic practices that just really help me to drop into my body, and then I can actually open up to pleasure. We also have these portals to pleasure, as I like to call them, and we sometimes have like personal favorites, ways where we know when we do them, they really bring us pleasure. Like you already said, massage, for example. Do you have any other like portals to pleasure that are really good that you include in your everyday life?
I love that name. That's so perfect. Like a portal. Like it's literally like a portal hole into like you could use it as a portal gun to like open up into my pleasure.
Yeah,
It's so
because once you open one portal, it really opens up a lot more. So usually it can like really weave through the day. And like you said it before, your fix, your pleasure fix, where you said like, oh yeah, quick massage or something like this. Someone else called it here on the show injections, or a pleasure menu that we can create, because we've got these
Mm.
portals to pleasure where we know when we do those,
Mhm.
we have that little bit of the pleasure, and then we can ride those waves and eventually do another thing, and then to just keep on riding.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, massage is definitely one. If my partner starts like giving me like any attention to my butt while I'm working on my like on my computer while laying on my tummy and starts like grabbing my butt, squeezing my butt, like scratching my butt, like trying to fuck me, I love that so much. I think
Oh,
especially if I'm like, no, I'm too busy, like they keep trying. That's like, yeah, I'm super into that. I also love like, yeah, feathers.
the vampire gloves where you can like,
Yeah, the vamp. I love those on like my butt and my thighs. And sometimes like one thigh and one butt will be more sensitive than the other, and I love it. Actually, those kitty nails as well, like on the
oh
back.
yeah, those
Yeah,
spiky nails, like,
yeah,
oh.
start like lighting me up so much. So mass. Oh, if like my partner's like I'm gonna like cook and clean, and you don't have to do anything, and the house is clean, and they're like go and self pleasure for a while, and I just have like space to self pleasure. I'm super into that. And then whatever intimacy that comes afterwards, like, yeah, those are definitely things that make me feel more open to, like, I guess, erotic pleasure or shared intimacy.
Oh, all yummy and delicious. Just like had all the tingles going.
Yeah.
I love those tools. While we're at tools, do you have any favorite like tools or products or a pleasure practice or ritual or a book that you
Mm.
found genuinely supporting you on your pleasure journey?
Um, I don't know if I have like one thing that stands out apart from, yeah, I mean, those vampire gloves and the kitty nails were definitely a bit of a game changer because like I'd had intimacy with women and vulva havers before, and like they had nails in like
Yeah.
some way, and that felt really good. And um, yeah, nothing that really comes to mind. Book wise, I think I mean, I love to spice some spicy books. Um, what is that? Oh, yeah, the like the priest. I don't remember who it's by. There's like a one
Mm.
about like a priest and a woman that's going to confession. I don't know. That was really sexy. I liked all of the Akatar books, but I kind of don't. I kind of just get turned on by like stories and build up
Yeah.
and um, not. I'm not super into like the super spicy books that are like really explicit. I kind of like the tease and the anticipation. And a book that I'm reading at the moment that I really love is Tell Me What You Want by Justin Lemiller.
Yeah.
All about like a lot of recent research on fantasy. I think for me, understanding fantasy is really like supportive and beneficial just to because I love fantasy and I love using fantasy. And I also work with clients over the years. I've worked with people who have felt shame about their fantasies or
Mm.
confusion about their fantasy. And so, yeah, just doing like a deeper dive into it recently has been really nice, like understanding a lot of the psychology behind it and commonalities and themes and things like that. It's been really fun. Um, yeah, those are, I guess, what are coming to mind. I really love the obsession. Like, that's probably my go-to vibrator. It's I got it from Comfortable in My Skin, Ellie from Comfortable in My Skin. It's got like a nice little like suction and internal vibe, and it's like it's not very, I kind of like a narrow, like non-threatening internal
Mm.
pleasure tool. It's like very narrow and soft and like movable. So I really like that one. I liked the mango juicer a lot as well. That made me squirt for the first time. But that one's hard to get your hands on nowadays, which is a bummer.
Like even though I've got now 400 pleasure toys and tools, I still come back to my own hands, my own feeling, my own taste, my own smell, my own just sensations, and I'm just getting goosebumps while I'm talking about it. It's just, self again, where you're just like, oh, there's so much there that we have right here with us. So yeah.
True.
So if pleasure could speak through you right now, what would it want women to know?
Hmm. That they are worthy of it, that they deserve it, that it's really going to be so supportive in so many different ways in their life, that it's okay to ask for whatever it is you need in pleasure, and for you to never tolerate somebody else's pleasure in order to access your own, that you don't owe anybody else pleasure, and that it's okay for you to make your pleasure a priority.
Yes, I love that. How do you support others to experience pleasure, and where can people find you to connect with you or work with you?
Okay, well, one of the my favorite ways to help people to explore their pleasure and understand their pleasure is to enhance people's literacy around pleasure. So, their body literacy, their sexual and erotic literacy and intelligence. And yeah, a lot of the time, because we live in such a sex negative culture, we're not taught shit. And so, a lot of my job is like educating and informing and getting people really connected to their bodies and understanding their anatomy and how it functions. And I do that through diagrams, I do that through self-exploration practices, sometimes I do it through demonstration. um, and then I work with people to understand what their body craves and desires, and what lights them up, what turns them on, what's an accelerator for them in sex, and also what turns them off, what's a break for them in sex, and how can we bring in more things that can be more of an accelerator, and how can we take our foot off the brake a little bit, um, wherever possible. And then a lot of the work that comes along with that is working with people with communication skills and being able to communicate all of this with the people that they're exploring pleasure with, supporting them through potential triggers and conflict that can come up with the sexual ego of a lover, or with people that are used to them not having boundaries and being people pleasers, and uh, yeah, having conversations around all that comes with stepping into our sexual empowerment and sovereignty, and yeah, reclaiming our pleasure.
Mm.
And yeah, and a lot of the work then with partners is a lot of experimentation, a lot of then understanding what their partner likes, what their partner needs, what their body likes. We go through different touch practices and touch exercises using different forms of touch. We explore different types of energetics between people, who likes to feel and what they feel more comfortable in regarding being a if they're a top or a bottom or a switch, if they like to be more dominant, if they like to be more submissive, if they like to use that kind of language or not. And yeah, like what the energetics is between the people, different role play scenarios, how to communicate different role plays, or how to have like a pleasure zone where when you're in that zone together, you're just having pleasure together without yeah, I really tried to like decentralize the penis in sex and penetration, and open up the sexual experience to be a smorgasbord of experiences, where penetration, or I like to say envelopmental sex, is an option, but where pleasure is the main thing that we're looking for. Or maybe it's adventure, maybe it's exploration, maybe it's intimacy and vulnerability, just finding what it is my clients and their partners are truly seeking from their intimate connection with one another, and what they're needing, what context they're needing to make that happen, what aftercare they might need, what conversations they might need to have, what things they might need to look at that isn't working for them, and what systems they can put in place that can feel really supportive for them. And everyone is so different. And so, yeah, that can be an investigation and huge journey just in and of itself. And then with therapeutic yoni massage, this is really like a body based practice where we are creating a new relationship with the body, where the body is the boss, the body's in control. We're listening to what the body is saying. We don't take any steps without the body saying yes. And really getting the client to listen to their yes and listen to their no, and honor that and see what that feels like in the moment, and then expressing needs in the moment. And so it can be really beautiful. Like someone can come in for a session and they can be quite shy and not have any boundaries. And then we sort of unpack that and we go into boundaries and consent and in the beginning. And then, very soon in a session, their voice is strong and loud and they're saying, actually stay there for a moment. I need a little bit more pressure. Can you pulse instead of holding? And they get into this space of feeling okay with saying exactly what they want when they want. And then that just ripples out into their life so profoundly. And it is really incredible. It's a really incredible practice to do on ourselves as well as with a practitioner. So that's another way that I help people understand what their body is feeling, what their body is needing, what they are needing, and connecting in with their voice and in with their yes and with their no, and asking them open-ended questions so they have to use their voice and they don't have just a yes or no answer. And and so those are all the things that really light me up. And I
can hear that, the passion behind it. It's just I do all of these things and I'm very passionate about it. And I think they're all important, so important. The education is a huge one. Just the comments sometimes on social media where we get, they should have taught me this at school, or, I've never knew this and I'm now 45 and I'm hearing that women need 20 to 30 minutes to actually just be fully engorged and they've never taught me about this or that. And it's really true. And I love, I can relate to all of that, what you've just mentioned as well. Just even the body's yes and no. A lot of women don't even know their body's yes and no. They've never listened to their body, and just exploring that and being able to find out, okay, this is my yes and this is my no. And then also reclaiming their voice, actually then, setting those boundaries, or really asking for their needs to be met and just speaking out their desires, which is a huge part in my program as well from the Pleasurelit Woman, just to get that embodied consent and embodied decision making, because we can take this into every decision that we make. If it's business, relationships, motherhood, where we have this embodied, okay, this is not my mind saying yes, that I should be doing this or no, but it's actually the body saying yes or no, and then listening to it and the self-trust that you can build. And I just love it. All of that you've just mentioned. So many portals to pleasure.
Yes, totally. And then your other question, how people can find me, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess I'm mostly active on my Instagram at Yonilicious. Probably the best way to find me. That being said, it's always shadow banned, and you might not see me very often. So I'd recommend to sign up to my newsletter, because I share a weekly freebie there, and a cute little inspiration. So at the moment I'm doing sex talk tips, so just little ideas of how to bring up talks about sexuality. So a little phrase of a thing that you could say, and then a freebie that I resource from somewhere in the sexuality space. So that's a nice place. So you can find that on my website, yonilicious.com.au. And then I also have a Substack, which is Kiki Marie XX, I'm pretty sure. I'm just getting into that because I'm not censored there, and I love the app. It is so gorgeous. I'm just checking. Kiki Marie XX. Yeah, that's me.
Woo. Thank you so much for coming onto the show and speaking so openly and vulnerably, sharing about your journey to pleasure and sharing it, with all of us and all your wisdom. Appreciate it so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Now, I would love to hear from you. What has resonated with you from this episode? Leave us a comment down below. And when you loved this episode, make sure you follow and subscribe to the show, give it a 5-star rating, and also share it along so we can spread more pleasure into this world. You can access my free Pleasurelit workshop at pleasurelit.com/links. Sending you lots of love and pleasure. Mwah.